You know, it is an extraordinary experience to meet young women from 82 nations around the world at this pageant. Right now, we have the opportunity to get to know 10 of them just a little bit better. Our interviews are spontaneous and they're unrehearsed, and for those delegates who have requested them, we have interpreters from International Data Solutions standing by. Let's begin with Miss Colombia. From Bogota, Tatiana Castro Abuchaibe is 21 years old. She is a painter, she is a poet, and as Miss Colombia has been writing a weekly newspaper column. Now, I know besides the column, you've also graced a lot of magazine covers in Colombia, haven't you?
Yes, in fact, that happens when you are a public figure in my country.
I know you're a public figure. Let's take a look at one of those magazine covers. Do we have it? Now, I like that. Now, who's that guy with you?
Well, he's Kafir. He's my dog. Kafir means, it's a precious stone that means quality and harmony.
He's your dog? They didn't use an actor dog on that?
No.
Really? Did he sit still okay?
Well, he's huge, but he's okay.
Now, I know you're pretty big in Colombia. You've all these magazine covers. How can you improve on all that lifestyle if you should win Miss Universe?
Helping people as much as I can.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Colombia. Step right over here. That is Tatiana Castro Abuchaibe. Next up, we have Miss South Africa. Augustine Masilela is 26 years old. She speaks 8 languages. She writes a beauty advice column. And she hosts a weekly primetime television show called Prospects. What kind of a show is Prospects?
Well, it's a magazine program which focuses on arts, technology, and tourism. And we visit a lot of places where we cover those places as tourist attractions.
And how long have you been doing the show?
It's been 4 years now.
You like it?
Enjoying it very much.
I bet you've done a lot of stories in those 4 years, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I've covered one of the most interesting ones was the inauguration of the state president in my country, Mr. Nelson Mandela, which was a very emotional moment, but I really enjoyed it because it was the first time ever for me to see a president being inaugurated, and it was a very emotional moment, and I couldn't help but became ecstatic.
A lot of changes in your country. Congratulations, Miss South Africa. Augustine Masilela. Now we have Miss Canada. She is Lana Buchberger. She is 20 years old. She is from Calgary, Canada. But listen to this history. She was born in Singapore. She has lived in Malaysia. She has lived in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, and one of my favorite places in the world, in Pebble Beach. I don't know how that one fits in there with all the other exotic locales. How come all the exotic globe-trotting for you?
Well, my father was in the oil patch, and he was transferred around quite a bit, so I had all the opportunity to live around the world.
What is oil patch? I've never heard that term.
He was a superintendent of an oil rig.
So what's patch?
It's just a saying.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm new here, okay? Now, it was kind of an interesting childhood, I'm sure, but kind of difficult to adjust in every new city.
It wasn't so difficult. I think you acquire certain aspects and characteristics that help you adjust and adapt to certain cultures.
If you had children, would you want them to live the same kind of childhood, moving all over the place?
Definitely, definitely.
Why?
Well, I myself have become a more mature, understanding, and patient individual from traveling around the world. Traveling has given me the privilege to experience different cultures, a wide variety of cultures with different customs, beliefs, and values. And I find that it has taught me to respect each individual themselves as well as their society as a whole. But most importantly, I have definitely grown to become a more mature individual.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Miss Canada. Step right over there, Lana Buchberger. Now we have Miss Trinidad and Tobago. She is Arlene Peterkin. She is 27 years old, currently is a flight attendant with a degree in aviation administration. Boy, she comes from a large family, one of 9 children. And speaking of children, I know that just recently, didn't you go back to like your old grade school and talk to the kids there?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, it was a really rewarding experience because I went back. I got a lot of old memories flowing back into me because the school was very much the same, although it had been modernized. And there was one teacher who was there. She was the kindergarten teacher while I was going to school there, and she's now the principal. So it was really lovely.
What kind of questions did kids that age ask you?
know, they asked me, how does it feel to be Miss Trinidad and Tobago? Do you feel like a queen? One of them, I especially remember putting up her hand very eagerly and saying, do you know I have a pet rabbit and her name is Susie? You know, they're very unpredictable because the age group is so wide, you know.
Right.
But it was a lovely experience.
All right. Thank you very much. Miss Trinidad and Tobago. That is Arlene Peterkin. And now we have Miss Puerto Rico. She is Desirée Lowry. She is 22 years old, a recent college graduate who thinks she would like to pursue a law degree coming up next. And eventually she says she wants to work in the field of diplomacy. Now, I heard that earlier you had mentioned that you thought pageants and politics were pretty much the same thing. Is that right?
Well, definitely. I think both of them entail a lot of protocol. Both of them entail having to meet with a lot of people. And I think it has a lot to do with human relations. Pageants are definitely all about learning about different cultures, about learning how to get along. And I think politics has a lot to do with that.
Isn't Spanish the first language of Puerto Rico?
Yes, it is.
You have no accent when you speak English at all.
Well, my father is from Oregon, and he wouldn't speak to me unless I spoke to him in English. So I was kind of forced to learn the language.
I see. Now, they speak English here in Namibia, but they also speak Afrikaans. Do you pick up any of that since you've been here?
Ek is Leifer, Namibia.
Is that what'd you say?
I love Namibia.
Ah, yes. Oh, the field of diplomacy. Yes. Well done. Okay. Thank you, Miss Puerto Rico. That is Desirée Lowry. All right, ladies, thank you very much. That completes our first 5 interviews.